and participate in the game of Silicon Valley, the gamification of how we get our business up and going. Are we going to just do regular things that cause us to 80% likely fail at business? Or are we going to try to win at entrepreneurship at a 95% success rate? Yeah. Hashtag CS183 law. So during this time together, which is going to be incredibly short but highly impactful, I'm going to lead off with things that are the best, that are Easter eggs before people start entering the room, which is this. Best street smart thing that I know that's a lead off, that is a signature business protocol, is external API. Like internal external and API, application protocol interface. Hashtag hashtag external API. What we're doing is we're taking an existing thing and we're changing one word. We're taking an existing franchise that's not even a legal franchise, and we're just augmenting one small concept. In movies, there's something about Mary, and they have a business idea for doing 7-minute abs. And then his friend is like, what if somebody does 6-minute abs? You've changed one thing. That's what we're doing with hashtag UTE week. It's in Austin, but initially it was at University of Tennessee, where you invite the athletic director, Randy, and you have a pre-roll where you're not money laundering, which is what governments do, allegedly. You are washing the hashtag via changing one word. Let me give you an example of this. Prior was UTE Week, that came from Stanford Entrepreneur Week. Another concept, which is not washing, but basically washing, which is Duck 9. Deeply understood credit knowledge comes from improving your FICO score. When your SQL concept using an external API becomes popular, the host API sometimes could be jelly. And when that happens, you win because one, you're already winning, but two, because now they're going to say you're breaking trademark. External API is a practice in trademark. It's a practice in copyright. It's a effort to not even bend the law. It's to massively adhere specifically to the law, which makes this incredibly street smart. If I'm taking your McDonald's cheeseburger and I'm dipping it into seed oil and then frying it and then sprinkling it with powder and then dipping it in chocolate, that is now a chocolate McDonald's cheeseburger. Completely legal to do and allows us to leverage an existing thing. Here's another one. Guacamole. In and of itself, it is a funny sounding thing. And it's a sequel to Lululemon. And it's so clearly changed one word. South by South lawn. That's another one where it's obviously South by Southwest. That the play on South by is a lot of people's favorite concept to external API. Another one from South by is Sats by Southwest, as in Satoshis by Southwest. And what that is where Bitcoin people talk about Satoshi Nakamoto and the orange coin. Another one that's an external API. We're talking about external API examples. If you're just joining the room, welcome. We're Boostergram Ball. It sounds like Instagram Ball, but it's just changing it ever so slightly. And so, is that number 6 out of the 74 tips for comedians to be slightly more business savvy? Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't get what you're asking. Oh, you're visiting American YouTube from your country. Welcome to America. Welcome to America. Your English is much better than my ability to speak your language. And so I will be saying street smart legal because this is incredibly street smart to edit somebody else's thing. And I give you my permission. You wanted me to say something cool. This is it, which is right after external API, which is the remix button here on YouTube. When you find the remix button, it's almost directly underneath my chin. Hit collab or green screen. And when you do that, then you can connect with the YouTube algorithm in a completely legal way because now you're selecting your favorite content that impacted you here on YouTube. And you go from 8,000 videos that you've watched to one video that you've made. And most people think making a video is having a perfect video with editing, just your favorite video. You want to make that. Whereas initially, you just want to edit and remix using remix, collab, or remix green screen. And then you select 11 seconds to 14, maybe even 15 seconds of your ideal content. Next, street smart business legal thing is internal escrow and one-way letter of intent. Internal escrow is not third-party escrow. It's escrow just from that party. That money stays there. So that's internal escrow. It's not third-party escrow because you haven't worked and deserved that level of legal protection. Internal escrow, one-way letter of intent. Traditionally, internal escrow, the conservative one, is uh, third-party escrow. One-way letter of intent, knowledge activates the fact that you don't get a contract. A contract is unilateral, both parties on even ground. Internal escrow is bilateral. What you're doing with one-way letter of intent is you are ceding power to the entity that doesn't want to do a contract with you. And if you're a startup, nobody wants to do a contract with a startup. Plus, the amount of time it takes to hash out a legal contract becomes incredibly burdensome. That's what they don't teach you at Y Combinator. Internal escrow, one-way letter of intent. Moving right along with today's sunrise video, street smart, genius ways to have us succeed as founders that are pre-Y Combinator, and this is definitely stuff that they don't teach you at Y Combinator, which is this. The reverse rebate model when you're trying to get your product up and going from zero. So, hi everybody, welcome. And so what we're doing is we are offering a rebate. This is the Mark McCormack reverse rebate model in a nutshell. Somebody wants to be in my book club because it's going to make you $30,000 from $0 to $30,000. Will you buy my mentor's book, Stephen Blank's book, for $300? $300? It's only $80 on Amazon. Well, if you read 2 chapters, I will give you $150 back if you do a 3-minute video summarizing chapter 1, summarizing the next chapter. Wait a minute. If I pay you $300 and I read 2 chapters and you give me $150 per 3-minute video that I post here on YouTube, that means I paid $0. Is that correct? That is correct. Do we have a deal for $300? What has happened? One is you've done something free, but that's not really what happened. What really happened was the chemical changes when people come up with money out of their pocket. Now their brain's on. Now they're in danger. Now they're like, are they really going to refund me $150 after I post a video? When do I accept the book? How quickly do I have to do this? Terms and conditions, details, and then you as the seller of the $300 book with the caveat of the Mark McCormack reverse rebate model. Now you have to collect that $300. And after you collect that $300, you have to actively get your customer to be like, hey, I still owe you $150. Where is that video? Where's that video? Have you read that chapter yet? Let's push forward slightly forward so that way my $300 of yours doesn't burn a hole in my pocket. That's the micro intentions, the small steps forward that are incredibly street smart using the Mark McCormack reverse rebate model. I even have a hashtag for this. It's hashtag LCRRM, hashtag Larry Chang reverse rebate model. What they don't teach at Y Combinator. Street smart legal. When we as founders or doing a deal or doing a contract, these are all things that we do not want to just delegate to a lawyer. That's why learning to do a verbal deal. After we get a verbal deal, incredibly street smart, we want to follow it up with notes written on a page and email following up what I remember from my side of the conversation. What we're doing there, especially with a notebook, is it's incredibly street smart to say, I took these notes in conversation with you on January 18th when we were at the bar and you're throwing putty at me, and this is what I wanted to put on paper. Will you initial or will you sign my notes? They're not signing a contract, they're just signing the notes. Now you take that little piece of paper and you photocopy it or photograph it, and you make it into a larger piece of paper that then is a subsequent meeting for the future. So that way you now have a game plan on marching forward without a contract, making progress without a written agreement. It's incredibly street smart and incredibly astute, and shows also that your brain works great because you're able to expand on a prior.